The one-man band is a thing of the past, but tonight's star of jazz could be one if he wanted to. And this, of course, is Stars of Jazz. Tonight we offer the fine new quintet of Mr. Paul Horn, together with Miss Sue Evans, a very pretty blonde girl singer. Later we'll see what happens when contemporary jazz is used to score mood music for an old-time silent movie. First, however, consider the common noun horn. Now, horn is a word of many meanings. Cows have them, so do rams. Loudspeakers use them, and you can put on shoes with one kind of horn. Saddles and automobiles have them too, and of course, musical instruments can be called horns. Which brings us to the proper noun, horn. In this case, it is the last name of one Paul Horn. And the name Paul Horn has as many meanings musically as the common noun. That's because Paul Horn is several people all at once. He is a first-rate soloist on alto and tenor saxophones, flute, piccolo, alto, flute, and clarinet. He played the infrequently used recorder, too, with the Sauter-Finnegan Band. And during his stay with the Chico Hamilton Quintet, and now on his own, he's a writer and an arranger, too. Paul, when did all this start?
Hi, Bobby.
How are you?
It probably originally started in 1930 in New York City, where I was born.
Were your family musical, Paul?
My mother was a pianist. Matter of fact, she was Irving Berlin's pianist.
Oh, honestly?
And introduced many songs, among them Blue Skies as one.
When you say she was Irving Berlin's pianist, what do you mean exactly by that, Paul?
Well, in those days, in order to get a song published, they didn't have demonstration records and things. People just came in with the sheet music, put it down in front of a pianist, which was my mother in this case, whose sight read very well. So that was the only way that the publisher could hear the song, was to have somebody play it right there in the studio.
So then your first instrument was probably the piano.
That's right.
Did your mother teach you?
No, she didn't. She preferred somebody else to teach me.
How about all these other instruments? When did you start playing
I
those?
started clarinet when I was about 13, and then took sax up shortly after that. And started on flute when I was in college, second year of college. And piccolo comes from the flute, and that's about it.
I think of all these instruments, it would be very interesting to know which one you consider the most difficult to play, Paul.
Well, for a generalization, I think all instruments are difficult to play well. But if I had to make a choice, I'd say the clarinet. I think most people would say, well, why isn't he saying the flute? But I really think the clarinet's a harder instrument.
You think the clarinet is more difficult
Yes,
than the
I
flute?
do.
I've made an interesting observation. We were talking about discussing, matter of fact, about 3 days ago. There have been so few great clarinetists in the through the Dixieland era, the swing era, and now in the progressive era. How do you account for this?
Just because it's a hard instrument, I'd say. It's especially in the more modern type of music, since the bop era. I'd say that there are very few people that found the secret in making the clarinet swing. It seems to lend itself less easily to that type of swing than the saxophone or even the flute.
It must be difficult too to get a good solid tone out of the clarinet.
Well, it just it demands, I think, more study, really, and more concentration than the saxophone. Although, again, I'm contradicting myself. All instruments are hard to play well. But I do think the clarinet has more problems, really.
I'd like to discuss this with you at length.
All right.
Yes, I think it's very interesting.
Over a beer?
Paul, I see you've surrounded yourself with some wonderful musicians here. Well, why don't you introduce them to us?
All right. This is Mr. Fred Katz on cello, whose latest release on Pacific Jazz is called Zen. And Mel Lewis, in my estimation, one of the best drummers in the country today, has an album out of his own, too, the Mel Lewis Sextet on Mode. And then Mr. Hal Gaylor on bass, who's a featured member now of the Chico Hamilton Quintet. And Calvin Jackson, whose latest release on Liberty is Jazz Variations on the Rhapsody in Blue. A wonderful album.
Certainly a very impressive group, and we're just delighted that you're here on the show.
It's a pleasure.
You know, talking about the Chico Hamilton Quintet, we certainly can thank Chico for introducing a lot of new people to jazz, but some people say that Chico's music really isn't jazz. What do you think about this, Paul?
Well, I probably could quote Chico on this when he says that I think it's unfortunate to have to label music and have it carry a category. Chico does play jazz, and then there are other compositions which are not jazz, which are not intended to be jazz in the sense that they're finger snappers.
Well, I think it's very true
It's a broad group, and I think that a lot of musicians today are broad musicians that play more than one type of music.
But I think it's very true that jazz is getting closer and closer to the classics, or the counterpunctual things and this sort. Don't you agree?
Well, I think that the writing certainly is showing a classical influence, and there seems to be more writing, especially out in the West Coast, in jazz than there used to be.
Well, this is another discussion we could talk about for hours. Paul,
Right,
thank
Bobby.
you very much.
Thank you.
Now let's listen to the very exciting Paul Horn Quintet and the lovely jazz standard Lover Man. Man, the Paul Horn Quintet featuring cellist Freddie Katz. A couple of weeks ago, in connection with the appearance of songstress Bobby Lynn, we examined the financial world as it concerns a girl vocalist. Along these same lines, we thought it might be fun tonight to take on the matter of what a young female entertainer does for kicks. And because tonight's singer, Sue Evans, is currently employed in Las Vegas, we can think of no better principal for the purposes of such a discussion. So considering the glamour, the excitement, and the drama inherent in such a fabulous community as Las Vegas, you'd probably think there's nothing but fun to be had during her off hours by a girl who's performing there. Well, if Sue were the sort who wasn't adverse to participating in games of chance, she'd certainly find enough of those to keep her busy in Nevada while she wasn't working. Gambling, however, is something that Sue does not do. So add to this the fact that Miss Evans's business hours keep her away from seeing any of Las Vegas's shows, and you eliminate another possible source of Sue's amusement. So what's to do? Well, we borrowed Sue's personal diary to bring the story to you firsthand. A day in the life of the glamorous singer, Miss Sue Evans, girl vocalist. See the line here. 3:30 p.m., out of bed. 3:35, shower, brush teeth, and dress. 4:10, breakfast. 4:10 in the afternoon, it's a good time for breakfast. 5 o'clock, go to cleaners. 6 o'clock, back to room, read book. 7 o'clock, write letter. 7:30, ready clothes for tonight's shows. 8:10, wash and fix hair. 9 o'clock, read the evening paper. 9:50, lunch. 11 o'clock, shower, dress for show. 12 midnight, on stage until 6 a.m. 7 a.m., dinner. 8:30 a.m. to bed. Exciting? Well, we'll leave it to Sue to tell us why she stays at it. Now, however, having brought her story up to date, let's see what the book has to say about the future. Here we have it. Monday, March the 10th, 1958. 10:47 p.m. Sing on Stars of Jazz. Hey, that's right now, isn't it?
Look down that lonesome road before you travel on. Look up and see your maker, for Gabriel blows that horn. I'm so weary, toting such a load, treading down that old lone road. Look down that lonesome road before you so. You caused me to walk and talk like I've never done before. I'm so weary, toting such a load, treading down that old lonesome road. Look down that lonesome road before. You travel on, you travel on, you travel on, you travel on.
Sue Evans with Pete Charlie on piano and Lonesome Road. Sue, if for you personally there's so little to do in Vegas after hours, just why do you stay there?
Well, it's a showcase, and a lot of people, important people are there, and they see me, and I hope to step better up into the business.
Where do you work in Las Vegas, Sue?
I'm going to open at the El Rancho Thursday.
I've always been interested in the lounge in the El
lounge.
Rancho. I've often been interested in something. Don't the slot machines and all the gambling, all the activity, doesn't this disturb you at all?
No, you get used to it. You just sort of have to ignore it.
But suppose you're doing a nice quiet number like My Funny Valentine or something like that, and the click of the gambling machine, this doesn't annoy you at all?
No, I just forgot about it now. I don't even pay any attention anymore.
Sue, what is your background musically?
Well, I started in show business when I was 16. I worked with Ken Murray's Blackouts as a dancer.
In the Blackouts as a dancer?
But I always wanted to sing, so I quit that and I started studying. And I started singing professionally in '54.
Did you study with someone here in Hollywood?
Yes.
Who?
John Harrigan is his name.
And your first professional job was where?
Out in the valley, a little club called the Lido with a trio.
What was the trio?
Bob Fellows had the group.
And you've been singing ever since then?
Yes.
Any records or anything like that?
Not yet.
And what happens now with you and Pete? Are you going to go back to Las Vegas?
Yes, I'm going back to Las Vegas to join another group.
Oh, you're not going back with Pete. You're going back with what group in Las Vegas?
Well, it's led by a drummer named Ralph Pollock. And the bass player is Max Wayne, and Bob Harrington is piano player.
And you're going to be there for how long?
Indefinitely.
How about recording plans? Have you made any records or anything like that?
No, I'd like to, but I haven't yet.
You know, quite a few girl vocalists who've been in this program have been very lucky with recordings.
That's what I've heard.
And we hope that you'll join the crowd, Sue.
I hope so too, Bobby. Thank
Awfully
you.
good to have you on the program.
Thank you.
Now let's listen to Miss Sue Evans, the Las Vegas Siren, and the beautiful George Gershwin song, How Long Has This Been Going On?
I could cry salty tears. Where have I been all these years? Oh, little while, please tell me now, how long has this been going on? There were chills up my spine, and some thrills I can't define. Oh, listen you, please tell me, do, how long has this been going on? Oh, I feel like I could melt into heaven. I'm heard, and now I know just how Columbus felt, finding another world. So kiss me once, and then once more. What a dance I was before. Oh, what a break, for heaven's sake. How long, just how long has this been going
Last year, the production firm of Hecht, Hill, and Lancaster made a film called The Sweet Smell of Success. And in that movie, Paul Horn and Fred Katz, as part of the Chico Hamilton Quintet, not only appeared on screen, but also provided jazz as background music. Well, tonight we thought it would be quite interesting to apply jazz to another film, one that's quite a bit different from The Sweet Smell of Success. This film had neither background music nor dialogue when it was made because it was produced in 1915. It's called The Bank, and it stars Charlie Chaplin. Contemporary jazz, it may seem a little out of place as background music for a Chaplin comedy, but that's just because there have been some 43 years separating the time each was created. Actually, jazz probably would have been a fine vehicle for scoring early silent films if it had been around at the time. In this particular film, Chaplin plays the part of a janitor in a bank. He falls for a woman employee of the bank, but she rejects him. Then he gets his big chance to be a hero in her eyes and win her affections. Well, now the reels have been changed, so if the ladies have removed their hats, we will see Charlie Chaplin in The Bank with modern jazz scoring by Paul Horn and his quintet. supplied by the Paul Horn Quintet to score the filmed action of Charles Chaplin, the movie The Bank. The selection, an improvised classic by the Horn Group that shall remain nameless. Well, if you're in the mood to improvise as far as pleasure is concerned, look no further than the store nearest you that sells Budweiser beer. In tune with good times and key to the enjoyment of the moment, delicious Bud offers you perfect satisfaction during those hours of leisure you so richly deserve. Combined with just the right combination of the best in hops, rice, and best barley malts, refreshing Bud truly rates the title of the king of beers. In bottles or cans, large or small, world-renowned Budweiser is a taste-tempting delight anytime, any season. So do it yourself. Get next to Bud now, just as the world-renowned handyman, Mr. Pettigrew, shows you how to do here.
Now listen, Pettigrew. They're playing our song.
Budweiser?
Budweiser.
Budweiser?
Budweiser. Budweiser.
Next week on Stars of Jazz, Budweiser will present a special treat. The free-swinging trio of pianist Lou Levy and the surprise vocal star. So please plan to be with us. Good night and good Budweiser. Thank you very much for listening.